Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Amber Cooper. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for those who are taking the time to like and share and just talk to me and being subscribed and a part of this journey with me. I really, really appreciate you. And if you are new here, if you have not done that yet, just take a quick sec, go hit those buttons, come right back because I got to tell y'all something and I have to share it first thing. In my last video, I made a comment that it didn't feel right, it didn't sit right, and I prayed about it. It's been a couple of days and I have to address it. What I said was I apologized if I came off a little too preachy. And I don't. I'm sorry. Sorry, not sorry, right? Like I take it back. Because for one, I don't ever want to give the idea that somebody should apologize for what God's calling them to do. And for two, I don't know exactly who's going to hear these videos and these messages and just the things that I've been through, but I believe if you're hearing it, you're supposed to, because this was not my idea. Like, I am not this person that just thinks I'm oh so savvy with computers or phones or anything social media. In fact, I am so turned off to it most of the time. But I definitely feel led to be here, definitely led to share the things that I do share. And I want to, if my experiences and the way God has enlightened me can help someone else, I am wrong to keep my mouth shut. So I don't think I'm better than anyone. I don't think I know it all. Not even stinking close. Not even close. But I do need to address that because if I come off strong, if I come off a little preachy, sorry, not sorry. Because my experiences are strong. And what I feel and what I've overcome, it is a big deal. So if it helps you, beautiful. Golly, like just thank God for it for me. Let me know if you want to and I will do it too. But if it's just weirding you out, I respect it. I'm not mad at it. Like it's cool, okay? Like there's people for people and I'm not meant for everyone. Everyone's not meant for me and that's okay. That's okay. This is already in too deep, but I'm just saying I do that sometimes. But I'm just saying, guys, it's all love, okay? And it's love that God taught me, so I have to share it. Anyways, all of that leads me to my message, and I want to talk about boundaries. Boundaries have been something that are so interesting. Usually when I think of boundaries, I think of how they hold me back. And a great current example of that in my life is when I had to leave salon lofts that I was working. I was working as an independent stylist in a loft and I loved it. Doing hair was my first baby. It was where I found a lot of my identity and it came to a point where I needed to leave. I was not okay. I struggled. And it was definitely a spiritual experience for me because it took God from pulling me through, not going down into a depressed state, not feeling like I've lost everything. It was so much. And I felt like everything caved in. But what I once thought would be a pretty jail cell, I thought this would be just like a really cute prison that I get to decorate, turned out to be just the biggest space of freedom. And when I do sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I do feel like my tasks are daunting. I can never get it all done. Like it drives me batty to not get out of the house. Like makes me cuckoo, okay? And I'm sure my kids can attest to that. But God will remind me that like, okay, well, it's in his time. And all the things that I'm doing in obedience now, within the boundaries he's given me, are seeds for the big desires and the big works that he's got coming for me. And y'all, this is like, the way that I'm saying this is it's fresh. Okay, like God has really kind of just shared some of that with me. He refines it all the time. So while I have been able to enjoy this experience, he's still teaching me. And I believe that when God gives other people boundaries, he'll do the same thing. So if you have a boundary that you are not liking, but you know you need to, try to enjoy it. And I'm saying that because I'm going to need you to encourage me to try to enjoy it sometimes too. It's hard. It's hard. And I also believe time is the most precious thing we have. Most of us want to be selfish with it from time to time, right? And being a mom is the opposite. It's exhausting. And a wife and whatever else you do. But I'm learning how to truly love the boundaries that I'm in. And I really do. I really do. It's just I was afraid to let go of what I thought I needed still. So, and you know what is so funny? When I'm an educator for stylists, like when I'm doing that job, like that color line right behind me, first of all, it's the bomb, but I don't need the brownie points for my job. I'm just saying it's really cool. I actually even tell stylists, I tell them all the time, I'm just like, there's rules in this color line, the chemistry, the science, and the way that what you can and can't do. There are rules. But when you know the rules and you understand, you are limitless within. You are limitless. And you can be as creative as you want to be. And oh my word, is that not accurate in just life? When you know what keeps you safe, what keeps you in the good space, you are not bound to be reckless. You are bound to be limitless. And it's just, that's a beautiful concept to understand when you're afraid to step in the lane that God calls you down. Now, I also recently watched Sarah Jakes Roberts' message on boundaries. And if you guys have not watched it, you need to go check my girl out because she is so amazing at what she does. So anointed. But she was talking about the book of Esther, which I already love Esther. Her story, whenever I would read it, I would always find myself relating to Esther and her part of that. And in the book of Esther, she was raised by her relatives, groomed to, like, by her uncle, right, who raised her, to find a higher status and to be well off because her parents were not there. And Queen Vashti, who was the current queen at the time, she was called out by her husband, the king, to wear her crown and show these people that all showed up to this royal party her beauty. Now, Sarah elaborates in her message. It talks about how at that time, what he actually was calling her to do was to show up completely nude and only in her crown to show everyone her beauty. And Queen Vashti had her boundaries in place and she said no. And that concept that Sarah she really shined some light on Queen Vashti, who's literally only mentioned in the Bible like a few verses. There's hardly even women talked about in the Bible too often, but Queen Vashti held such a pronounced space to me when I was listening to this message, because it was about being the woman who's leaving. Because what happened in that story is the king was upset because he didn't have his way. There's consequences for that. What he did was he called other virgin girls to be groomed and prepared and presented to the king, and whoever the king found most pleasing was who he made the new queen. So Queen Vashti was out and Esther was in. And I would look at that story and I would think about myself as Esther, like, okay, I sowed the seeds. I did my part. I showed up. I was in the right place. God blessed me. Now I'm in a higher place and I have a new role and a new job. And by the way, Esther's job was amazing. You got to read it if you haven't. But I never thought about Queen Vashti. And Queen Vashti was taken from her position. It was like her boundaries that she set for her self-dignity, for her respect. She was willing to risk it all. She was willing to let go of her position that she probably loved. I'm sure she didn't want to take that crown off. But because she held her dignity to where her boundaries lived, she relinquished her territory, if you will. And when I was relating that to my story of having to leave what I loved, leave what I thought was my identity, I instantly thought downgrade. I instantly thought like I'm stepping backwards and I can't let it go. People thought I was crazy. Like, Amber, you've got this business. Like, how are you just going to walk away from it? Like, what are you doing? And I had to learn that my boundaries were to keep my household okay. And I have a responsibility to that. And so that was my side of it, my story and how I related with Queen Vashti. However, the boundaries angle, think about all the things, like if you are in a situation where somebody is expecting you to do something that you're uncomfortable with doing, how many times we compromise our boundaries to not lose our position. Think about how many times those boundaries get blurred, and as many times as you do it, and then you lose them. What we used to be strong in, we start to find ourselves feeling weak in. And it dawned on me that as boundaries, you think about God's herd, right? His sheep, his flock. He has boundaries there not only to keep the wolves out, okay, to keep people from hurting his children, okay, following me? So he has boundaries there not only to keep the enemy away, but it's also to keep you from wandering out of his path for you. It's a protection as much as it is a guidance. So I don't know. Sarah's messages always touch my heart, but that really, really, really connected with me in just what seemed so painful for me. I'm able to learn from it in such a way that I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know how many women probably right now are now stay-at-home moms or working from home, and they feel like they are just lost in, they don't know who they are anymore or whatever. They don't even have a social life because, y'all, I'm there too. But like all these things. And if you can find that space to be thankful and inspired and prosperous and just motivated by the things that you used to feel were a penalty almost, just how freeing is that? That's amazing. And so I guess the question that I want to ask you is, how committed are you? How committed are you to your boundaries? How committed are you to the boundaries that God has put upon you? Some of that could be for self-respect that you don't even have for yourself, or you never thought of. Some of that could be for your own protection. Some of that could be to move on to the next phase of your life, like it was for me. And I asked that question because ride or die is a thing. And like, that's the thing. If you ain't riding with the Lord, like, you're going to suffer in some areas and it might feel like that. That's, I'm just saying, guys, I'm just saying. It's so true. It's so true. And for those who are like, no, I'm good, I'm fine, I'm good, like everything's gravy all the time, watch out, because there's a curveball coming, and you got to be about that life. You got to be about that life when the curves come, because when you say you're a Christian and you're saved and the curveballs come and you start acting all out of control and foolish, you're fueling the non-believers to blaspheme God and to essentially put out more hate in the world. So stay in the bounds. Stay in your space. And I'm here with you. Isn't that great? Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm not as conceited as that sounded. I'm just saying. It's just fun. We're having a party. So anyways, guys, go ahead, like and subscribe and be a part of this journey with me. If you have not, go ahead and take the chance to do that. And I will catch you in the next video. Bye.